Oh boy, oh boy. Mother Nature, how are you, darling? I have Mother Nature here today. I've been trying to get you so long. Dena Dietrich, come on.
I can't believe that you still remember Mother Nature. It's been off the air for a
Has it?
long time.
How long it's been?
Was on the air for 10 years, from 71 to 81.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we went off the air in 81. Hello.
Yeah.
A long time.
But, wow, what a career off of that.
Yeah,
Did that,
well.
I know you made a lot of money on that, but did it really interfere with other things?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, my career up until Mother Nature had been in New York and doing Broadway, doing off-Broadway, doing stock, whatever.
Right.
But the minute that the Mother Nature commercial came out, all the phone calls started to come in from Hollywood because they were very curious to see what that broad looked like or was like or what was the story behind her. So I was doing a Broadway play at the same time as that first year of Mother Nature, and I had to keep coming out here to do screen tests. I screen tested with quite a few people, none of which I got.
Right.
And so I go back to New York, and I was doing the show, as I say.
What show were you doing at the second?
Prisoner on Second
Avenue.
Yeah,
With
Peter Falk, Lee Grant. What a wonderful cast.
Wonderful guy. Yeah.
We had a good time. I did that for over a year. And then finally, the siren song, "Money," got me out here.
It did get you out here,
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
it? You like California?
Oh, I love California.
You grew up where?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, and I
Where
love
the snow
Pittsburgh.
is up to here in the winter, you know. And then I went to New York when I was a kid, and the snow was up to
As
here.
an actress?
Yes.
When did you decide to be an actress, Dena Dietrich?
Well, let's see.
At what age? Because you got that.
Seriously, at 16,
See? Yeah.
when I did a high school play, and it was a comedy, and all I had to do is, every actor will tell you this, as you know.
Right.
You hear that laughter, and you're sunk. That does it. But then, right after that, I was quite young. I went to New York to the American Academy and learned basically how to act. But I had people in my class like Grace Kelly.
Grace was in your class?
Yes. Yeah, we did a play together. We did. Before anyone had ever heard of a movie called High Society, there was a play called Philadelphia Story.
Right.
And she played the lead, and I played the other woman. Second woman.
Can you imagine? No, I've interviewed people, hundreds and hundreds, never heard anyone worked with Grace Kelly.
Really?
And you went to school with Grace Kelly.
Yes.
That's not in your resume. How come, girl?
Because I don't care about Grace Kelly.
Oh, wow.
No, there were a lot of other wonderful, wonderful actors. Colleen Dewhurst was a class
Great
just
actress.
6 months ahead of me. Jason Robards, Annie Bancroft was 6 months under me. I mean, we had many wonderful, wonderful actors at the Academy. The Academy at that time was based in Carnegie Hall, which very few people know about, because they have their own building and all that stuff now.
Yeah.
But at that time, we had all the classes at Carnegie Hall in the little tower right next to it.
This is in the 50s, I would say.
It's on 57th Street.
No, I meant in the 50s. Or
Oh,
40s.
the new one?
No. When you were there at the Carnegie Hall, the studio, was in the 50s?
57th Street.
No, I know that, but I'm talking about in the 50s when you went to school with Grace
God,
Kelly.
you mean the 1950s? I thought we were talking about streets.
No.
You're going to pin me down. Everybody's going to know how
No,
old
that's
I am.
okay. Don't worry.
I don't care, because unfortunately, once you get into a Broadway show, they damn well print it.
Print it, yeah. They do, don't
And
they?
there's nothing you can do about
You
it.
know.
That
But
was,
you don't worry about age anyway.
No, I don't
you
care
don't
anymore.
care about that.
1949, 1950.
50. That's what I figured.
I think the end of 50 we graduated. It was a 2-year course.
Because I came out there in the 50s after.
Yes?
Yeah, I studied with Kim Stanley for a while.
my, really?
I love Kim Stanley.
Yeah, I almost studied with her, and I had spoken to her on the phone.
When she was here in Hollywood?
Yes.
Yes.
And then she died.
She moved to Santa Fe.
Oh, yes.
Her daughter, and she was teaching acting at the University of Santa Fe.
Really?
Yeah, she's so great. Wasn't she good in The Goddess?
Oh, my dear.
You would be great in The Goddess.
Oh, not quite.
Well,
thanks.
you know what I mean. You know, comedy is your
Do you remember that other thing she did, the seance
Oh, that was
Seance
great.
for a wet afternoon?
Absolutely, of course.
What an actress.
I saw that on 58th Street in that little theater across the street on 58.
Oh, at the Paris.
The Paris Theater.
See, we're New Yorkers forever.
Yeah, forever
Once
New
you're
York.
a New Yorker, you're always.
You know
a New
something? I never liked California. You feel the same way?
No, I love California.
Do you really?
Because of the weather.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
I can't
But
take
you're
it
a New
like
Yorker
this.
all the way,
Yes,
baby.
I'm afraid so. I am, yeah.
So tell me, and then from there, you the first Broadway show, the real very first Broadway show,
Oh
Dena
my
Dietrich.
God, what was my first Broadway show? Oh. It was a little number called Here's Where I Belong, which was the musicalization of East of Eden.
Uh-huh.
We opened and closed same night.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Terrence McNally wrote the book.
Uh-huh.
We had wonderful music. The guy, Alfred Urey, who wrote Driving Miss Daisy,
Right.
was one of the songwriters on it. He wrote, I guess, the book.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Walter McGinn and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful actors.
Did you study singing?
With David Craig
That's it.
only. Yeah, I never specifically.
Because when you're a Broadway actress, you do it all. That's
do,
what that's
you
what
do.
you call a Broadway performer.
I won't talk about my dancing, however.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as they teach you to move.
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly.
That's it.
Yes, that's
Tell
true.
me about the Funny Girl. You know,
Well, Funny Girl was...
you were on the National Company.
Yes, that was 1965, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And it was quite a tour. I signed up for, being stupid and not knowing any better, I signed up for a year.
Did Mimi Hines
had-
go out on the road after she left Broadway? Mimi Hines.
I don't know.
I thought maybe she was with you. On the
No,
road.
no, we had Marilyn Michaels.
Oh, great impressionist.
Who was...
Ooh, Marilyn Michaels. If anyone doesn't know, this lady does so many voices.
Yes, she does, and she, of course, was doing Barbra Streisand at
Yeah,
the time, and
yeah.
doing it wonderfully.
Yes.
And we had Lillian Roth as Mrs. Bryce.
Lillian Roth.
Yes.
I'll Never Cry Tomorrow.
Yes.
You're
I'll
kidding.
cry tomorrow.
She
No.
was in that show.
And they fired her in San Francisco, and I was
Drinking?
her understudy. Oh, a little of this, a little of that. She was crazy.
She was.
Yeah,
So
wonderful
her
lady.
real life story, is that true then? Drinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Lillian Roth. You met her and you worked with her.
Yeah, I was her understudy. So sometimes at intermission, I'd hear on my dressing room, Lillian is gone, she's left the theater. At intermission. So I'd get out of my clothes as Mrs. Strakosh, and I'd get into Mrs. Bryce's clothes, and I'd be all ready, and I'd be in the making she's back. And I would do that many times. So finally they had to let her go in San Francisco, and then I played it, the whole run in San Francisco. And then Nancy Andrews came in here in L.A., and I went back to doing thank God, to doing Mrs. Strakosh.
Was your very first film? Do you remember your very first?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. It was for Arthur Hiller,
Go ahead.
and it was a movie, at the time it was called Bruder's Hooch.
Okay.
But I think they changed the name of it somewhere along the line.
Right.
It was with Timothy Bottoms, Richard Dysart. It was, Timothy Bottoms was,
He's a cute kid. I know the whole Bottoms brothers.
I
I've
know a
interviewed them
couple
all,
of them,
and I think they're a
Sam and-
lovely family.
oh, he was brilliant.
Wasn't
Timothy. He really was.
I like. Yeah,
And it
was that the
was-
boy who did go on the ocean, Timothy? Did he take a boat around the world?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. That's
He was wonderful. I
something
think
I
he's a
don't know about.
marvelous actor and
He
a
is.
marvelous
And-
family.
Yes, and they all come from, I think, Santa Barbara.
Santa
or
Barbara.
someplace
You're
like that,
absolutely
yeah.
right. Do you ever see any of them?
I saw Sam once.
Sam's my friend. He had a silver spoon. He used to
Well,
hang around a lot.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's where all the actors hang out.
All the old actors.
Old Silver
My
Spoon in
age.
West Hollywood.
My age.
I love
No,
it.
that was working with Arthur Hiller. That was thrilling.
Uh-huh.
You know, that was my first movie, and I was scared, you know whatless, but I got through it. I played Timothy's mother,
Okay.
and he was cuckoo. He was playing a Vietnam vet who had gone.
I remember that
A little
film.
crazy.
Yeah, I remember that
And
movie.
what's Barbara Hershey?
Hershey.
Had
Wonderful.
changed her name at that point in time to Barbara Seagull, because I heard the story that she had somehow injured or had seen a seagull injured, and she decided to change her name
To
to Barbara
Hershey.
Seagull.
Seagull. Oh, really?
Seagull.
No more Hershey?
for a long time, and then she went back.
Went back
Hershey.
to.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true.
Wasn't she
or not.
married to David Carradine, I think, or something
I think
like
so.
that? David
Yes,
and her.
yes.
You brought a clip today. I
Yes,
just
I
like to
did.
see this clip. What is this clip
Well,
about?
I think Stephen Bochco is a genius, and anything that I can work with. I did NYPD for him, and then along came this show called Philly for Philadelphia.
Right.
Starring Kim Delaney and other wonderful actors.
Right.
And he hired me for the pilot, and they liked the character of the judge who brings her dog to court and wears a lot of makeup. This is actually based on two judges, two real-life judges. The one who still is around brings her dog to court, puts them on the bench right next to her.
Who's that one?
I don't know.
You don't know. You.
I wouldn't say
You
if
wouldn't
I
say
did.
it either.
No, I
Okay.
wouldn't.
Well,
And then the other one who wears, lots of makeup, and she always wears flashy clothes under her judge's robe, and make sure that you see them, like that. So it was a fun character, and Stephen let me play it. I think I did
Okay, let's
about 18 of them, so
Okay, let's see
quite
it.
a gig.
Let's see it.
Knock it off, both of you. You're making me cranky. Mr. Patel, could your conversation with the prosecutor keep you from speaking with Mr. Froman?
Well, I certainly wasn't looking forward to it.
Your Honor, I move to strike Mr. Patel's testimony inasmuch as Mr. Loomis essentially instructed him not to speak with me.
I didn't do that.
Mr. Froman, what if I give you half an hour to interview Mr. Patel and I instruct him to treat you with the utmost respect?
Half an hour isn't long enough to conduct an effective interview, Your Honor. And given the lateness of the hour...
No, I am not carrying this case over another day. Given the impropriety and its practical effect...
Impropriety, Judge?
You know prosecutors are explicitly barred from forbidding witnesses to speak to defense counsel. I'm striking Mr. Patel's testimony. Mr. Patel, you may step down.
Your Honor, that's a drastic remedy given that Mr. Patel is the eyewitness.
And not one that the court finds particularly persuasive. Do you have any other testimony that you'd like to present, Mr. Loomis?
No, Your Honor, the Commonwealth rests.
Mr. Froman, do you feel compelled to put on a case?
No, Your Honor. Defense rests.
Then we're done. I don't need to hear closing arguments. I find the defendant not guilty. Mr. Becerra, you're free to go. We'll take a 10-minute break.
Court will stand in recess for 10 minutes.
Mr. Loomis. I have had it with attorneys bad-mouthing each other. Now, you're my example of the day. Go out and spread the word.
Fine, Your Honor.
Counselor, it was a weak case. Yes, baby. Yes. Yeah, all the bad people.
That's funny.
We always had a little. Every time I would carry the dog off stage, I was able to ad lib. So I would say all these bad people that we have to put up with, or things like, "Now that's a bad vibe, honey," and talk to the dog. It was great. I had the best time.
Was it your dog then?
No, it's a trained dog.
Trained
It's
dog.
a showbiz dog.
Yeah. Mel Brooks, come on, tell me more about Mel Brooks. I just love Annie Bancroft and Mel. I used to see them all the time at the racetrack, and he was so good.
Yeah, he's
and
a wonderful
he
man.
must miss Annie.
Oh, please, I don't even want to think about it.
I know.
I ran into her, probably maybe 3 or 4 months, I guess,
ago.
before she
Yes,
passed.
yes.
And she always had a way of saying, "Oh, the producers." But Mel and I only know him in a
You were in the
working
history
way.
of the world. With
Yes.
Yes, I love that
I had a
movie.
funny story because, everybody loves that scene with Madeline Kahn. You know, it's just
Wasn't
precious.
she a great actress?
Yes, she was. Yes,
So
she
sorry
was.
about her.
Mel called
and
me
young.
in when I had just auditioned for History of the World, and he said, "Now, I want to warn you. You have to be very careful. I don't know how it's going to work out, but Madeline can be a little difficult, and just be aware of that." And I said, "Fine, okay." We got along like gangbusters. We had no problems. I adored her. She knew I adored her. We had the best time doing that scene. But I always loved the fact that he warned me up front. because he'd worked with her so much, he knew her, you know. And I guess sometimes if people didn't live up to her expectations or they weren't as perfect as she thought they should be, she'd give him a problem. Why not? I think that's a very good philosophy myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
But the History of the World was just one of the best experiences.
The guy from New Faces was in that. Ronnie Graham, was he in that? Ronnie Graham?
You know, I only really paid attention to the part that I was in.
Yeah, Ronnie Graham was in that from New Faces.
He might have been in the French version.
Oh, okay.
With King Louis and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was only in the Roman section with Caesar and all that nonsense. You know what? They had these little boys lined up and she sang the song about who she liked. No, no, no. Yes, yes. No, no. Yes, yes. Well, the first time I saw that, we did this scene, the first time I saw this, the boys all came in and they all had little fannies hanging out. They were bare on the fanny. And then the makeup people came in and touched them up with rouge. So they were looking,
all the fannies.
Going down the line.
How about the Golden Girls? Now, you do that. You've been on that show, the Golden Girls.
Yes.
Yes, tell me about that show. You mean, that's... You know, all these women, they're so funny and...
Oh, they're wonderful. Look at that cast.
At all the cast. Tell me.
I mean, I was friendly with Estelle, and I've talked to Betty a few times. B, I don't really know at all, and...
do you get compared with B,
Pardon?
Arthur? Do you
yes. Unfortunately, yes.
B, Arthur. You do get compared, yes.
Yeah, well...
Is she a tough lady?
She was there first, so...
Yeah. Is she a tough lady?
I don't know, because my relationship with her was strictly on the set.
Yes, yes.
You know, I would see Estelle at a restaurant or, you know, whatever.
She used to hang around the Silver Spoon a lot.
Did she?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I love Estelle.
Before my time, I guess.
Yeah.
But B, I really, you know, we only had a relationship across when we were reading. But I played her sister on the thing, which was, we worked very well together.
Yes, you did.
And that funny one, there's a hurricane a-coming.
I remember that. The practice, you've been on the practice years a lot.
No, the practice at that point in time in 1976 was with Danny Thomas. I was a regular on that.
Danny Thomas.
He played a doctor.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they stole the name, the practice.
Oh, is that what they did?
Lawyers.
They do, yeah. Working with Danny Thomas. What a generous,
what an experience.
Kind man. What kind experience?
He was, first of all, he didn't trust anybody.
He was Lebanese, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't trust anybody until you proved to him that you could get laughs or that you could live up to him. I remember the first time when I auditioned with him, and his son was one of the producers, and we were in a little trailer somewhere or other, and I had to read a scene with him. And at the end of the scene, I reached over and I did this. He looked as though I shot him. He was so stunned, but he loved that because everybody
was afraid of him. Yeah,
everybody was afraid. I didn't care.
That's right.
So when I touched him, that sent off something, and he said, "She's for me."
Yeah.
It was
what
fun.
gives you great pleasure in life, Dena Dietrich?
Philly. I want to do Philly again. I had the best time.
What
gives me great pleasure in life is acting. I'm an actress.
You're an actress. That gives you great pleasure.
Absolutely. And the
and
older
you keep working all the time.
Isn't that wonderful? I just did a movie for Hallmark Channel with George Siegel. It's not any of my credits, I don't think. I haven't put it in there yet. And somebody said to me, "Well, how long have you been in the business working on this movie thing?" And I suddenly realized I got my equity card in 1952. 1952. Most people weren't alive in 1952. So I've had a long and very good career.
So looking back at your career, you did have a good time then.
Oh my God, yes. Everything I've done, I would never regret anything.
Good, because I interview a lot of people and I ask that question. Some people are bitter in life. They're not happy. They're just not happy.
I know. My best friend when I was younger was Jimmy Coco.
Oh, I loved him.
We had a discussion about that one time. He had just was doing Last of the Red Hot Lovers, which was what put him on the map. And he said, I often wonder if I would be bitter as I got older if I hadn't had any success in life. He said, now that I've done this, I know I'll never be bitter again, ever. And I don't think he ever was. And I feel the same way. As long as I can work, I don't care. Look at what I'm doing now. Can we talk about what I'm doing now?
What are you doing now?
I'm
you
doing,
are doing, that was going to bring that up.
I
you
hope
are
so.
Oh, honey, I didn't forget that. You are in a marvelous play I just saw at the Lost Theater.
That's right, the Lost Studio.
The Lost Studio, and it was wonderful.
Thank you.
And the writer, his first play is
William Saroyan's son. Yeah.
Aaron.
And he's won many prizes for poetry, and he's written books.
Yeah.
He wrote one book that I happened to have read and was not even aware I was going to be working with him. But he wrote a book about Carol Saroyan Mathau, and Gloria Vanderbilt, and Una O'Neill, who were three best friends. Can you imagine those three women? Amazing. And he wrote this wonderful book about them before he got around to writing this play. And he'd never written a play before, and it's just
It's actually called The Beach House, or Beach House?
At the Beach House.
At the Beach House.
Yeah.
And it's about his life.
It's pretty much about his family, which is rather dysfunctional in a way.
Right.
And the interaction among the Saroyan clan and the Mathau clan.
Yeah.
And I played the grandmother of them all because she was some lady, her name is Olga, in the play, and I think it was Roshin. She was Russian Jewish, and she had like 3 husbands, and the last one was Marcus, who was the head of Bendix Corporation. Very wealthy man, very big industrialist. And she was one of a kind. And playing her, I had to do some research and try to find out about her. And there were certain things about her that were not like me. So I had to sort of search around and find a good character for Olga.
But you did it, baby. Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you.
I went opening night, and guess who was in the audience?
You.
Me, I know, but the greatest one.
Oh, my God, we just about fainted when we heard.
Tell me.
Gore Vidal.
Gore Vidal, that's it, guys.
We didn't know about it until after. I don't think we could have gone on.
Oh, yes, you could have. Oh,
I mean, I'm a huge fan of his.
And he was crying. Did you know he was crying at the end?
Oh, no, really?
Crying.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's what the writer was telling me.
Wow.
He was crying.
Oh, that's
because I
wonderful.
interviewed him when I did it, and he said he was crying.
Oh, wow.
Gore Vidal crying. And
Well,
that's his
he's funny
first play.
because he said, the scene with the 3 women, he said, affected me so much that you should change the ending and make that the ending. And so Aram Saroyan did take Gore Vidal's advice, and he did change the ending.
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah.
So he did listen to him.
Yes, he did.
And it's better now?
It is. It
it
makes
is?
more sense.
I got to
There's
come back and see it.
Yes,
How long
you
is it going to
should.
be there now?
I think we're running through Thanksgiving weekend.
It's wonderful. How's the crowds been?
Very good.
Good.
Had almost all full houses, thank
Good,
God.
good.
It's a little house.
I know, it's a small house, but it's a wonderful little theater.
Isn't it? Those
and his
seats
wife,
are so comfortable for the
and
audience.
his wife, when you walk in the theater, the Lost Studio, his wife's got all the paintings.
Yes.
That's his wife's painting.
That's right.
And it's charming
Yes, it
paintings.
is.
Pastels and beautiful.
And they set up that gallery, and then if you walk into the other side, there are some more over there, too.
Yeah,
She's a wonderful painter.
It's a wonderful little Lost Studio,
Yes.
I call it.
And
That
the air
is.
conditioning, I couldn't believe it. I said, this
Great.
is really modern.
Yeah.
Most
yeah.
places you do equity waiver if you get any kind of air conditioning.
Yeah, it's on
you're
La
lucky.
Brea. It's on La Brea between First and Second.
Between First
and
and
it's
Second.
a wonderful little theater, and the play is doing well.
I'm so glad you saw it.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
loved it, and I'm going to go see it again because of Gore Vidal Chain. Get his
Yes,
ideas.
yeah.
Oh, I want to go see it again. Has he been back since?
I don't believe so.
Who else has been coming
Oh,
to see?
God,
you don't judge.
I must tell you that
You don't do that.
I say, don't tell me.
You don't wanna
tell
know.
me. Because the night, thank God they told me afterward, the night I knew Gore Vidal, I was stammering idiot. Mr. I could hardly get it out, you know. I have all your books at home, like an idiot.
You did the Lucy show.
Yes.
Tell me about the Lucy show.
Well, first of all, I met Lucy because she did Danny Thomas's show, The
Yes,
Practice.
yes.
And the funny story about that, I played Danny's nurse, and Lucy played a homeless woman on that episode. And she comes into the examining room, and she sits up on the table, and as his nurse, I come in and I put the thermometer in her mouth, and then I'm about to take her blood pressure.
Okay.
And I was standing in front of her, and she's like this. All of a sudden, I felt something moving me, like this. I thought, what? She had taken one of her legs, curled it around my leg, and moved me. And as she did it, she said, "You're in my key light."
I love it.
So I was standing, trying to get this blood pressure thing on her
Right.
at a very awkward angle. But boy, the lady knew. Man, oh man.
These actors and actresses, boy, the old timers, they know their key lights, didn't
She
they?
knew everything.
Yeah.
Martin, I didn't realize I was doing that. The director put me there. I was standing there. And then later,
That's funny.
Gary and Lucy had me come in and do one of the episodes of the last show that she did, where I played a homeless lady.
Okay.
And we got to go to trial together, and I sued her and she sued me, and it was a funny episode. And I just loved working with her because, I mean, God, that's a legend, you know.
What have you learned about
Everything.
yourself?
Everything.
Like what? Yeah, give me an example.
Well, like I don't
because
take
you're such a
myself-
great lady. Every time I used to see you on that commercial, it just was hysterical. Gays loved you. Tell me
yes.
why. Don't look at me that way. Gays
Everybody
love you.
loved Mother
They love
Nature.
you. Yes, nature lady. But the gays especially.
Well,
They
I
personally-
think it's the same reason that somebody like B. Arthur, somebody like Angela, strong women.
Women, that's what they like.
Strong
Betty
women.
Davises.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Ethel Merman, strong ladies.
Probably reminiscent
Judy Garland.
somewhere of their mothers.
Yeah,
I don't know.
evidently.
But what have I learned, you ask me?
Yes.
I've learned not to take myself serious.
Oh, I like that.
And
you
I've
have a
learned to
great
have-
sense of humor and you
have
don't-
fun.
That's what it's all about.
And I didn't when I was young.
You didn't?
No.
Why is that?
Well, because it was all about career, you know.
So you
and,
really-
I would have been, what Jimmy said, I would have been bitter if I hadn't had any kind of success or any kind of a
You
career.
would have been.
Oh, yeah.
So that Mother Nature
So that
really
saved my ass.
saved you. Right.
Forgive me.
Yeah. No, that's right, honey. It saved you because.
Yeah.
And then from there, you got other rows. You know,
A whole lot of stuff.
a lot.
A lot. You know, when you're young, you start adding stuff to your resume.
Yeah.
As you get older, you're taking it off, taking it off.